Imagine this, just for a second. Billions of people, literally across the entire planet, stopping exactly what they're doing to stare at a single game. We're talking stadiums absolutely overflowing with chanting fans, bustling city streets completely emptying out, and entire nations collectively holding their breath. Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating global phenomenon. We're going to dive right into the sheer, unrivaled scale of the world's most popular game.
Okay, let's dive into this. For a lot of you watching, especially if you grew up in South Asia or, parts of the Commonwealth, you might actually be living in a bit of a sports bubble. You see this incredible, unmatched passion for cricket everywhere around you, packed stadiums, massive historic rivalries. So the central mystery we are solving today is this. When cricket is just so incredibly famous and rich, why is football unequivocally the biggest sport on Earth? How did it leave cricket so far behind on the global stage?
To figure that out, we're going to look at the data. Here's our roadmap. First, we'll hit the global sports reality. Then, the power of simplicity. After that, fast action and pacing, followed by stars and billion-dollar clubs, and we'll wrap it all up with the final verdict.
All right, kicking things off at part one, the global sports reality. Look, if you live in India, Pakistan, or Australia, cricket feels like the absolute peak of human athletic achievement, right? It is the center of the sporting universe. But when you zoom out, a completely different picture emerges. The passion for football exists on a level that's just hard to comprehend. From the favelas of South America, where kids are dribbling barefoot, to the massive, ultra-modern stadiums of Europe, from vibrant African villages to these rapidly growing leagues in Asia, football is a language that is spoken by almost every single country on Earth.
And when we put their geographic footprints side by side, the contrast is pretty stark. Now, cricket commands immense diehard loyalty, for sure, but it relies heavily on just a handful of core Commonwealth nations. Football, it isn't confined by historical boundaries at all. It has a truly universal reach. It penetrates literally every continent and establishes this deep cultural foothold almost everywhere you go.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is how it explains part two, the power of simplicity. To truly understand why a sport takes over the globe, you have to look at how a 7-year-old kid actually starts playing it. Think about it. Football requires exactly one thing, a ball. And honestly, it doesn't even need to be real leather. Rolled up socks, a crushed plastic bottle, a bunch of tape. It all works. The barrier to entry is zero. Cricket, by its very nature, demands resources. You need a bat, a specialized hard ball, wickets, and crucially, you need a properly maintained pitch. Football's simplicity makes it perfectly accessible for the poorest streets and the most remote villages.
Which brings us to part three, fast action and pacing.
So we know how the game is played, but how is it actually consumed? In the modern era, sports are competing with a million other distractions. And for football, 90 is the magic number. It is a frantic, high-energy sprint that's just perfectly packaged for the modern viewer. There are no frequent commercial breaks, just continuous, flowing action. End-to-end excitement, the constant threat of a goal, mounting drama. You sit down, and in less than 2 hours you get a complete, emotionally exhausting narrative.
Now contrast that with cricket. Cricket, and especially its traditional test format, demands an entirely different kind of investment from you. It requires immense patience. It is this highly strategic, multi-day saga. Even the shorter T20 formats take several hours to finish. That's a significant time commitment. And frankly, not every global viewer has the cultural patience or just the free time to dedicate half their day to a single sporting event.
Because football is so fast and so accessible, it culminates in its absolute biggest weapon, the FIFA World Cup. This isn't just a sport anymore, it's a global cultural milestone. It brilliantly ties deep patriotic emotions directly to that fast-paced action. I mean, even people who never watch regular club football suddenly become die-hard fanatics for an entire month.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, part four, stars and billion-dollar clubs.
When you combine a super simple game with massive global tournaments, you create a commercial ecosystem that is unlike anything else. And at the very peak of this ecosystem are the players. We're talking about absolute superstars, guys like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Their reach is just staggering. They completely transcend the sport. Even people who have literally never watched a full match in their lives know exactly who these guys are. They are individual brands rivaling massive corporations. And supporting these megastars is a literal billion-dollar industry. The top European leagues, think the English Premier League or Spain's La Liga, and the massive clubs within them, they are absolute financial juggernauts. They broadcast matches to every single time zone on Earth. You have fans in Asia, the Americas, and Africa waking up at absurd hours of the night just to watch clubs located thousands of miles away. And they support them with this fierce, unwavering loyalty that honestly closely resembles a religion.
So, the crucial point is, well, let's wrap it up in part 5, the final verdict. We've broken down the geography, the equipment, the pacing, and the economics. So why does football win the global popularity contest? It's the perfect storm. It is incredibly easy to play. Requiring nothing but a makeshift ball, it has spread to literally every corner of the earth. Its 90-minute format perfectly suits our modern, shrinking attention spans, and it boasts these emotionally charged tournaments that can capture billions of people all at once.
But as we wrap up this explainer, we absolutely must make one thing crystal clear. Cricket is by no means a small sport. In the countries where it's played, it is cherished. It's followed with a religious fervor that easily matches and often exceeds anything you see in football. Cricket has some of the wealthiest athletic boards in the world, and it has its own absolute legends. The difference we are talking about today isn't in the passion. The difference is purely in the global distribution.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. If cricket is ever going to break out of its historical strongholds and rival football's blanket coverage of the globe, what needs to happen? Does the equipment need to fundamentally change? Do the formats need to get even shorter? Is it an outreach problem? Think about what we've learned today from football's playbook. I'd love for you to leave your thoughts on this, because analyzing how these massive cultural shifts happen is exactly what makes studying sports so endlessly fascinating. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking the big questions.